Right, good afternoon, guys. This is our book, Blood Chieftainship. Blood Chieftainship by Gaban Kufemamoto. I like chapter 27 of the book, chapter 27, titled The World of Love. I'm going to read a piece of this chapter. It's so enticing and interesting. Okay. Hungry for Kudzanai, driven by visions of a boat, the limbs and breasts, bell and hips he would never have. Burayai went to Rushangwe Business Center. He sent a little boy to call her. She came holding a wood plate of mealies. Can you have a trip to Chedenje Hills to watch a movie? He asked. And as subtle man, he understood what a man's board needed. And what his spirit yearned for was to share the same bed with Kudzanai. The surge of power in his loins, the longing for coitus was at times unbearable. Shreds of love, sense of partnership were what he felt towards Kudzanai. At the hills, he left her seated on a slated bench. He had gone to pay for an hour in the rooms. When he returned, she was astounded to see his hands empty. Come on, he said. The prince led her to a dark room. She stood at the door and asked, "What's going on now?" He grasped her soft hands, forcing her whole body in. The apartment was dim. Burayai clogged the door and placed the keys beneath the bed. He switched on the solitary energy saver. It illuminated the room. The blue-striped curtains reminded Kudzanai of her late uncle's office in Jimbo, a lawyer. The sex maruda hung his hands on her rear end and finally brought her down to the bed. She remained silent. Burayai was already aflame with passion. He pierced his right hand inside a tight fitly skirt until he touched the genitalia. She was tactile, and as a result, the ravenous lion demonstrated a bed frame. All her garments scattered except innerwears. Did we agree what you are doing? If you break my virginity, I will come to your house, she charged with a wild voice as she lay her body on the bed. Something coitus supervened. The white sheets stained red. The white sheets stained red. "You are welcome at the palatial house in time," he told him. They sounded out of the restaurant, adjudicating by the way she stepped. People could tell the glory of her girlhood had been stolen. He would be getting home late, cold dinner. He crossed the garbage-littered street to where his motorcycle was parked. When he arrived home, it was past 6 in the evening. The engine sound of his Jin-Cheng cycle pierced up to the king's apartment. Mucheri looked through the window and viewed him entering the garage. Is this how a prince should behave? He thought. What if he gets killed by enemies out there? Habitually, he couldn't slumber before checking how the king was. He marched upstairs and without knocking entered the grey-curtained lounge where the king was pasted on a brown-striped sofa watching the most famous drama Maisorobi, painted by Paraffin. Burayai greeted him before taking 2 glasses of amarula. It was denser, but not sturdier and sweet as the astute liquids brewed by Chieza, the mother of Gaban, the poet in Tokwemkosi some decades ago. I had an unforgettable day at Chegono Hills with Kudzanai, whose beauty turned me crazy. We spent the greater part of the day telling stories, a virgin land, though I managed to sow my royal seeds. The prince narrated. The king commented, "You should desist from hovering around this land since royal family is an enemy to all." As far as Burayai was concerned, Kudzanai has proved a queen. There was no question that he had imagination. Marrying was outstanding. The prince had been proving a unique figure in terms of choice. When asked by Dambudzo, his sister, about the secret behind selecting the best seeds from the granary, he said, "As a prince, I possess a power of best morally and financially."